Let's talk about generators and manifesting generators. They're a similar energy type. Both types have very wide auras. Both types, when in alignment, are super sparkly, radiant, magnetic. So we'll break it into two parts now. We'll go into the generator. Some famous generators that you might know: Beyonce, J-Lo, Oprah generator. By the way, projectors. Actually, Queen Elizabeth was a projector. Barack Obama is a projector. So there's a lot of people in leadership currently that are projectors. You'll see that continue. Generators, when in alignment, sparkly, dewy energy, wide auras. The biggest problem for generators is that they can do it all, and they'll get trapped into the obligatory doing it because of loyalty, because they have to, because they were told to. And so if we relate this kind of to horses as well, if you're demanding them to do something and it's a generator horse, even though they don't want to, because they love you, because they're loyal to you, they're going to do it. And it's not in alignment for them to do it, which means that that can lead them to burnout and just being exhausted and really fatigued. And so really communicating and checking in if they want to do something. For most generators, because they have their sacral defined, they have sacral authority. Some have emotional authority, which simply means that we wait for the emotional wave, really high highs, really low lows to pass. And that does within 24 to 48 hours. And we always revert back to the sacral for the answer, which is yes, no, So for generators, that really guides and steers the ship. Because they can do it all, a lot of times they get manipulated into doing things that they don't want to. So for humans, the biggest deconditioning process is getting rid of all the yeses that are actually a no. Actually, I don't really want to do that. Get rid of it. Actually, I don't really want to do that either. Get rid of it. Because then you clear up the space in the aura to allow the universe to drop in everything you need, require, and desire. And then it's your job to answer yes or no. When a generator gets burnt out, it's because they're doing too many things that are a yes that should actually be a no. Interestingly enough, the gut digestion will start to get funky for generators and manifesting generators. And I gather that this would happen with the horses as well. You might see some weird stuff going on with digestion if they're doing things like, yep, I'll do that. Yep, my Meredith wants me to do it. I love Meredith, so I'm just going to show up and do it. I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to push through, even though I don't really want to. And I haven't even been asked if I want to, but I'll do it because of loyalty, because, I love them. And this goes for humans too. And too many yeses that are really a no, it starts to mess up the digestion. Life becomes unbalanced. They're not sparkly, shiny, and dewy. A lot of generators that I personally meet, clients, friends, etc., that say, I have all that energy. I feel exhausted every day. And I'm like, yeah, because you're living out of alignment.
So what I'm hearing you say is that there are really 3 key characteristics someone should look for in determining if their horse is a generator or not. Yeah. One, of course, is just doing the wrong thing in life. And I think to some extent, a lot of us equestrians have seen the horse that really should be a dressage horse being in the hunter ring jumping fences, or the horse that really should just be a trail leisure enjoyment horse going into the competition ring. And then the second thing I hear you say is that there is an element when that horse or person is in alignment that they become like the Energizer bunnies, and they're the ones that need energy worn down. So those are going to be the horses that need to always be lunged in a zillion circles, or where turnout's a big thing for them, because you might wear them down or reach their limit one day and they'll come back the next day fresh as a daisy.
Totally.
And then the third thing that I hear you say is overwhelmed by choice. There are horses that if you present too many options for in too short of a time, they just shut down. For those equestrians who are going to more choice-based horsemanship, when you have a generator, that sounds like it's something to look for. And it's kind of a key generator. And it sounds like also a mani-gen
Yeah, manifesting generators and generators have the same signature, which is satisfaction. And when they're out of alignment, both energy types are frustrated. And so, as I just described a little bit about the generator, it's kind of similar for the manifesting generator in that overwhelm of options, because both signs, both energy types have a defined sacral. So the sacral's constantly talking to them. And so if you ask like open-ended questions, it's really hard for manifesting generators and generators to answer that, because majority of them are sacral authority. I ask my children, who are all generators, so I ask my boys, oh, what do you want to watch? If I prompt it that way, they literally, and we're just in dead zone for minutes. If I give them two options, or I go through each one, would you like to watch Toy Story? Yes or no? Would you like to watch this? Yes or no? Etc. And then they'll immediately make the decision. So for both energy types, it's not overwhelming them with choice, 100%, Meredith. And knowing that they're out of alignment in physicality, you'll see both of them, things will start getting messed up with their digestive system. Maybe their poop is just like off. That will be telltale. Because when manifesting generators and generators are not in alignment, one of the first immediate signs physically comes into the digestion system. Now, both big auras, wide auras, and like I said with generators, it's clearing out those yeses that are actually no, not forcing a generator to do something that they don't want to do. Yes, they can do it, but if it doesn't light them up and it doesn't make them feel good, you're literally pushing them down a path that will deteriorate health, well-being, and happiness. Goes for horses and people alike. Manifesting generators, they have all of that and a little bit more, because manifesting generators have two big motors running. They have the throat engine, which makes them manifester, and they have the sacral, which makes them generator. So they're like hybrids, superhuman or super horse. And so everything I just said with a generator applies for the manifesting generator. Plus, manifesting generators are really meant to live in the moment. Same as generators, but even more so. And the biggest misconception for the world at large is that once we commit to something, we have to follow it through. You start a business and you can't give up. You have to keep doing it, even if it doesn't light you up, because good people stay committed and they push all the way to the end. And there's that deep conditioning in society. So part of manifesting generators deconditioning is to check in. If it no longer feels good, so let's say in terms of horses, let's say the horse was a show horse for many years, but you can tell something's off. Checking in, if it no longer feels good and you continue to push as a human or a horse, it's literally going to lead you to burnout, adrenal fatigue, physical symptoms will literally start showing up plentiful for manifesting generators to rip them out of that area and go somewhere else. Because manifesting generators have such big engines. So when they're walking into a room or galloping into an arena or an area, everyone knows their presence is there. They have such big energy. So the universe, in order to speak to manifesting generators when they're out of alignment, they gift them burnout, adrenal fatigue, physical symptoms start showing up plentiful for them to say, you're out of alignment. Stop. You're off course.
Ulcers are relatively prevalent in many areas in many barns around the world. And it sounds like if you really want to get to the bottom of what might be causing a horse's ulcers, that taking a closer look at what energy type they are would behoove whomever, so they don't get put into the cycle of ulcers and then the omeprazole and the scoping and more treatments and
totally
having it come back. And
yeah. And it's the same with humans, not ulcers per se, although that could show up. But for humans, depression happens a lot. And I'd say it's even more prevalent since COVID hit, right? We've had a lot of mental health problems.
Right.
And I believe that that's because a lot of people don't have the information and knowledge around their energy type and how to access real alignment. And when you're not living in alignment, and let's say you're just doing a job because you think you have to do it and you think you have to make a certain amount of money and you're pushing through when really all you want to do is quit. and you're a manifesting generator, well, of course you're going to be really depressed. Or you're a it doesn't matter what energy type, if you're not in alignment or doing the thing that really lights you up, but more so for Mani-Gens, as I love to lovingly call them, and generators, it's so important because you're here to find the satisfaction in life. And you find satisfaction for generators through mastery, and for manifesting generators through experiencing the variety and buffet of life. Now, when these energy types are winning, everyone wins because they're bubbly and they have so much energy. And so their energy spills out and lifts up the rest of the world and pours into other people that are around them, because the rest of the energy types don't function like that. And so they need us. I say us because I'm a generator. So I'm going to move into the next energy type. Was there anything you want to point out? Yeah.
Yes, it sounds like before we move on, that another one of the signs of having a manifesting generator horse is that the horse is one that needs variety. And just going around in the circles, if it's just in the same arena the whole time and not going out on the trail or into an outdoor arena, kind of that ring sourness or just that boredom with what they're doing and how their life is going, clear sign that you're dealing with a manifesting generator horse.
100%. Yeah. Manifesting generators, they're one of the first energy types to hit the planet. And that's because they're here to experience the buffet of life, the variety of life, the wonder of life. They're here to experience it all. They're playful and joyful and excited and have like a childlike wonder. Ooh, what's that? I want to go play with that. Oh, I'm done. That's boring. Okay, now the next thing. Oh, okay, now the next thing. And society would make that wrong. No, we need to do the same thing again and again, consistency. But for manifesting generators, consistency looks different. So that was a great point to highlight.
Can you unpack that really quickly before we move on to manifestors?
So manifesting generators are here to experience the buffet, the variety of life. So what happens is, because manifesting generators have two energy centers, the throat and the sacral, that are defined. They can have other areas defined too, but because they have those two big motors, that's what makes them a manifesting generator. Big energy, life of the party, right? Like coming in, but it also means that they work really quickly. They get the lessons and the blessings and whatever they need from the situation fast. So for humans, it looks like, I enroll my daughter in ballet class and 4 weeks in, she hates it. Yes, because she got everything that she needed from the experience of ballet, and now she's ready to move on. Don't make your child wrong for that, just like you don't want to make the horse wrong for, let's say, it really enjoyed going in trails and, having people come over and go on trails with the horses, etc. And suddenly they're a little sluggish or they don't want to go anymore. And, you're having to pull them. They're acting a little out of sorts. It's likely because whatever lesson they needed to get from that experience of going on trails is complete, and they're ready to move on to the next one.
So consistency for manifesting generator looks like doing different activities with about the same level of enthusiasm.
Yeah, it's like, I think that's a great way to frame it. If I were to frame it in human analogy, what I would use is, if you like to have a morning routine as a manifesting generator, amazing, but make it multi-variety. So one morning, journal and meditate. The next morning, perhaps do a little yoga. The next morning, right? So we know that morning routines are beneficial and they feel good for you. Amazing. But keep it fun, keep it exciting, keep it multi-variety, because it will likely bore you if you do the same thing day in and out. And then what will happen is, at a certain point, it'll no longer light you up. And pushing through that point, then that's where you're coming into conditioning and you're going past your alignment. So it's just checking in. Does this light me up? Does this make me feel really good? Do I want to do this? Do I desire to do this? Yes or no? And so it's the same with the horses.
And for the working equitation people, I don't need to explain this one to you, but it sounds like this is also what perhaps the dressage people are tapping into when they're adding in things like working equitation into their dressage, or even the eventers with the 3 phases that have the multi-variety buffet to train from.